everybody. Welcome back to another installment of the Fantasy Cast. As always, he is Ty White. I am Lachlan McTagg. And again, another bit of a different episode for you here. Strictly playoff talk. And my God, what a weekend we had last weekend. It's now called Super Wildcard Weekend instead of just, Wildcard Weekend. Why? I'm not sure.
No one knows.
They're not really losing any viewers with the kind of games we had last weekend, but nonetheless, we are here to break down those games and give you some picks for this upcoming week of playoff action yet again. But first of all, before we get into all that, Ty, what have you been up to since we talked last?
Not too much, honestly. School started back up again in full swing. First week of classes actually for me. So just trying to get through that. Other than that, it's been a good time. Been able to see a lot of friends back downtown, so it's wonderful here. But the bad part since was we'll get to the Chargers in a little bit, but everything's all right. How you doing, Locke?
Doing all right. Obviously, the Bills win on Sunday. That was huge.
Mm-hmm.
That really put me in a lot better of a mood going into this week. Went to a couple ASU hockey games last weekend.
Nice.
They got embarrassed at home.
Oh no.
Yeah.
By who?
Minnesota State.
Okay.
Their number I think 17 ranked. I think it's funny. Like I'm realizing now, like when more and more teams are visiting Mullet Arena in Tempe, they make it like a destination for like their parents and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because like Minnesota State, like I want to say like there was like 2 full boxes, like suites in the upper level of the stadium, just full of like purple Minnesota State fans and parents and stuff, and they had like a big traveling contingency, and they're not. I don't know if they're really known for that in college hockey. I haven't really researched that about Minnesota State fans. Like I remember telling you about like the Utah football fans, how like half the stadium was red for the Utah game. But that's like they're known for that. I don't know if Minnesota State's known for that, but
no.
Nonetheless, they got swept at home. It was pretty tough to watch. But so we're recording this episode on a Thursday. Tonight, ASU men's basketball, they are 16-3, I believe, 15-3, 16-3.
Very respectable.
Incredibly respectable. They're hosting number 5 UCLA tonight. I will be at that game. Yeah, and we beat UCLA on our home court last year. That was one of our biggest games of the year last year. We actually beat University of Arizona too, who went far in the tournament last year on home court. So looking forward to that game tonight. Hopefully a court storm is in store for us. That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
And then RIT comes to town, so I'm gonna go to those hockey games at the Mullet. So just watching a lot of ASU sports and playoff football.
That's awesome. Just sports loaded.
Yeah.
So, but we last week on our episode we gave you guys our wild card picks. We'll be recapping those right now, I guess, and we're gonna go reverse order, right, Locke? So we're gonna start Monday, January 16th. It was Monday Night Football, and it was the Cowboys and Buccaneers. We actually both said the Buccaneers. I think we both picked the Buccaneers for that game, and it was a slaughtering. Like, there really isn't much to talk about other than the fact that the Cowboys dominated them 31-14. There was so much bad offense on behalf of the Buccaneers. They just couldn't seem to complete a pass. All the receivers got clamped, and the Cowboys just went off. Dak had 5 touchdowns. So,
yeah. Sadly, though, I think the storyline narrative is going to be carried by Brett Maher.
Oh no!
Of this game. I mean, thankfully he got bailed out like pretty hard in this game, because the game did end 31-14. But if it let's say it's a close game, and the Bucs win by like a last-second field goal, like
those points matter.
You lose by 3, but you miss 4 extra points. Like that would have been you're scouring Indeed.com to look for a new job after that because no NFL team's going to sign you as their kicker. I know that much.
They said they're keeping him on though. And
Yeah.
the thing that really concerned me, and I was actually watching part of the Manning cast during the game, by the time he already missed his third one, they just sent him out to kick the fourth one, and he missed it again. And then Peyton Manning like lost it. He was so mad. He's like,
Yeah.
"Why wouldn't you go for two? It makes no sense." But
Yeah. I mean,
you're right.
I don't
That
know.
was actually weirdly the story of the game, other than the fact
Yeah,
that the
like it's
Bucks got the rear end handed to them. But
and that Tom Brady could be playing his final game, and that I read some reports that apparently Gronk went on TMZ and was like, "Well, I mean, if someone makes me the right offer, I'll come back and play." It's like, oh my god. So you're
speaking of
telling me in
Gronk,
20,
have you seen that
yeah,
like weird Super Bowl kick commercial thing that he's supposed to do?
it's terrible.
Yeah, I don't really know what that is. It's like some
It's
FanDuel
probably
thing.
just gonna be like Gronk coming out with some people and they're just like kicking a field goal at the Super Bowl. I don't know.
It'd be interesting if he was
I
absolutely plastered by that time, and people actually had to bet on if it was going to go in or not. Is that if that's what's happening? That's actually pretty cool. But otherwise, the commercials have made no sense to me.
Yeah, well, it's always that commercial, and I don't know if you guys get this Burger King commercial and in
No, we
Canada
don't.
watching
We
it.
don't.
Okay, thank God. Okay, you
What is it?
should.
What is it?
Oh my God. So they're so like if you go on like NFL memes,
Mm-hmm.
you'll always find it, and I swear to God, this commercial lives in like every like American viewer. Like it just lives in their head rent free. I don't even want to like go into detail on it, but like, okay, you should be very thankful you don't get that Burger King
Okay,
commercial.
good.
I swear to God, after every single possession, it's the first commercial that comes up, and it's like the most annoying thing. And
I
it
hate
also
commercials like that.
it's also like quintessentially the commercial that comes up after a player is like injured on the field, and like the
Oh,
broadcast like and we're gonna go to commercial, and then it's just like this commercial pops up and you're like, oh my God, like can you stop this, please, please.
that's
But
awesome. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
glad we don't have that because Canada has
yeah.
enough annoying commercials. But I don't know. Burger King's not really big in Canada. That's not really like it's
Well, yeah,
around,
yeah.
but
I kind of assume that, but yeah, at least we don't have to watch those CTV commercials where they advertise the
oh
same
man.
shows for 2 hours.
Literally. So that's the worst part. And
Yeah,
CTV gets all the playoff games.
anyone that understands that struggle is a real CTV football watcher for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the Cowboys Bucks game. We've been spending a lot of time on this game. Tom Brady potentially playing his last game.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Or last game with the Bucks.
yeah, is he's under contract for one more year, correct?
I believe so. But the thing to me is like, if he went out, would he really want to go like that? Just get
No,
right? So
no.
I feel like
If Tom Brady came out of retirement after last season, like because I remember saying this to a lot of people, I was like, he doesn't look like he's like because he had a good season last year.
yeah.
Him and the Bucks had a good season, had a very very solid playoff run,
Mm-hmm.
fell short, and then he all of a sudden just was like, yeah, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like it just didn't feel like he was done last year. It doesn't feel like he's done this year because I feel like people are just like ripping on the Bucks the whole year, which they were because they were by far the worst playoff team to make it.
Yeah.
And the Jags were in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Chargers with their record too, right? Like they're like
Sure.
the Bucks were a semi-healthy team that just could not do anything this year.
Yeah.
And couldn't really get in the rhythm. And
They
I
deserve
just
to lose.
yeah, they deserved it, but I think knowing Tom Brady, knowing his mentality, is not done. There's no way.
Yeah. I agree with you there. But yeah, Cowboys move on. Next game, we're gonna go Sunday night football game, which was the Bengals and Ravens. Bengals won that 24-17. We both got that prediction right. That being said, the Ravens played one heck of a game with
Yes.
Tyler Huntley at quarterback, but they shot themselves in the foot. If you're watching that game, the inside the 5-yard line play calling, no handoff to J.K. Dobbins was ridiculous. Ridiculous. And obviously you had
Yeah.
that Sam Hubbard 98-yard return that's
Yeah,
going to
that-
end up on the Big Boys compilation of videos on YouTube of just big boy moments in the NFL. That was a crazy play, but the Ravens killed themselves in this one.
Yeah, and they did something similar against the Bills in 2021
Hmm.
or 2020 or 2021. One of those seasons when they played the Bills in the playoffs.
No, it was a pick
When Ter
six.
Yeah, when Taron Johnson had like the Ravens, if the Ravens score a touchdown there, like they put a ton of pressure on the Bills
Yep.
and potentially beat them on home field. But instead, Lamar throws a 106-yard pick six to
Yeah.
Taron Johnson. Like that's you can't like there's some things you just can't write. And like Sam Hubbard returning it, Taron Johnson picking it off a couple years ago for 100+ yards for a pick six.
Yeah.
Tyron Huntley reaches up. He's literally like he's inches from breaking the plane, and gets it bopped out of his hands. And Sam Hubbard is a defensive tackle or defensive end, correct?
Yes, DN.
Yeah, and he takes it 98 yards. Like
Crazy.
what? Because
Absolutely insane.
and the odds for the Ravens winning that game at that point was something like 73% or something like that.
Hmm.
And then the odds flipped back, like basically inverted on them after that touchdown was scored.
Yeah.
So the Bengals basically, like if the Bengals don't pull off that miracle play on the goal line
Mm.
and have that crazy circumstance, like the Ravens legitimately had a shot to upset them.
Absolutely. I feel so bad for the Ravens defense because they did so well against arguably
Yeah.
the hottest offense in the league. Like Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, those guys are absolute horses. Calais Campbell. So they have such a good defense. Even Kyle, like Hamilton from Notre Dame, he's a rookie. They have a fantastic future on defense, but their offensive play calling particularly lost in that game. Even the end of the game, you go right to the end when they're trying to make a run. They get a first down and they're still calling a huddle with no timeout.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta at that point you gotta go no huddle. Like
Wasted 20 seconds of the
yeah,
clock. Sure enough, they had to go for a Hail Mary at the end, and they almost caught it off a deflection. They were about this close to their player catching the ball, which is actually insane, and perhaps overtime. But yeah. Anyways, the Bengals take that one, but very close. And if I was a Bengals
yeah,
fan, I'd be a little bit concerned after
and
that one.
it's tough for the Ravens too because their defense is so good and is going to be good for another few years.
Hmm.
Um, but like you have Dobbins as your running back, and J.K. Dobbins is a good running back, and you have a couple other running backs in that system as well that are good.
Yeah.
But like Lamar is 1.5 steps out the door. You don't really have a quarterback. You've been
Mhm.
trying to draft and develop receivers for what feels like ever. Like I don't know what this team does from here.
Yeah. And I don't know, Mark Andrews wasn't getting the targets that he was last year. And yeah, like you said, the problem is absolutely the offense. I don't know how they fix that, if it's a change in coordinator but it just doesn't seem like the Ravens are a legitimate chance at winning a Super Bowl.
No, I feel
In the
like
near
they're
future.
they're like with their defense, and if their offense can be okay, I feel like they're a playoff team.
They're absolutely a playoff team. I just can't see
They
them
may be
making a run.
upset. They may be upset one team, but then they're just overmatched by the rest as the playoffs go on. Like they're just not built quite yet to
Absolutely.
go far.
For sure. Well, something clearly needs to change for them, but Bengals take that one. Then in the midday game, which was the only NFC game on Sunday, um, it was the Giants and the Vikings. So
You
you know
got that
what?
right. I got that wrong.
Yeah, actually, I said that the Giants would win that one. I felt like they would. Saquon played a great game, but the real story in this one, in a 31-24 game, in my opinion, was Daniel Jones. Wow, did he look good? He looked very good, actually, Lachlan. He had 76 rushing yards in the first quarter. They just kept letting him run that thing like it was the Bills offense, which was it was so cool to see because Jones played phenomenal. I mean, what, he's on his fifth year option right now, I'm pretty sure. Fourth year option, fifth year option.
Yeah, they gotta
Get
they
it?
gotta they gotta make a choice on him this offseason.
Yeah. So he's right, and he's playing well, and he beat a Vikings team that had 13 wins this year.
Yeah, it's I loved all the memes that came out about the Vikings. And I feel bad for them too because like I in my prediction I was like everyone's been writing them off all year long, and I remember like everyone was writing them off, especially when they had to go to Buffalo. And everyone's like, oh, like we're gonna see like the real Vikings, and then the Vikings beat Buffalo in Buffalo.
Yeah, that
And
crazy
everyone like,
fumble game.
well, yeah, and everyone kind of just like shut up after that about the Vikings, and it's like, yeah, because like they're a good team,
Mm,
but then they just kind of were stumbling into the playoffs. And credit where credit's due, the Giants played a heck of a game.
absolutely.
But I don't know how Kirk Cousins on 4th and 8 throws a 3-yard out to Hawkinson
That makes
in,
absolutely no
man
sense.
in man coverage,
That
man
yeah.
to man, and he throws a 3-yard out towards the sideline.
I don't know why you're not looking for
I
Jefferson
yeah
there.
I
That's
yeah
Jefferson's
I
territory. That's when you have to let your big players go out and win you the game.
yeah.
But yeah, like
And
I
you know
feel
what?
bad for
It's
Kirk
yeah
because he gets a lot of crap for doing stuff like that. But I mean, he's a good quarterback, and it's just unfortunate that he did that. It's like I hate when teams get in the red zone on 3rd and goal and they throw the ball before the end zone. They don't actually shoot it into the end zone. They do a check down maybe 3 yards out and they get tackled. I mean, why not take that chance of going to the end zone to like a big receiver for a catch that can get you points? And you needed a first down there. I don't know why throw that short. That's getting to and Hawkinson couldn't even lateral it at that point. It
no,
was just
he was isolated on his own again, like
yeah,
1-on-1 against a defender, and made the tackle. Game was over. But yeah, I mean, happy for the Giants, because that's
yeah.
another franchise that hasn't seen the light of day in a while, and it's good for them to get a playoff win.
It's been a long time. Yeah,
And yeah,
it's
you were
I
right.
think the first
I
time
was
since
wrong.
that that famous picture. That Odell picture on the boat where there are a bunch of like in 2016 or something like that.
Yeah, 2016. 2016 was their last good year.
Yeah. So it's been a while, and I'm happy for Daniel Jones. That was awesome. So I'm 2 for 1 in picks. You're 1 for 2 right now, but you're about to make 500 because the next game is the Bills Dolphins.
Yes, that
And
was
you
oh
get
my
started.
gosh. The Bills never make it easy
No.
on their fans' cardiac health ever. My God. I credit where credit's due. Skylar Thompson had a rough start to the game. The Dolphins receivers had a rough start.
Yeah.
They just I haven't seen talented receivers like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle just get hit in the chest and just not be able to make the catch. Like it was actually shocking.
hmm
But Skylar Thompson played really, really well. That guy came to play.
He was not the
Um,
problem. He was maybe
no,
the problem the first quarter and a bit, but he made
yeah,
so
but
many
at the same
throws that
time,
were
you
catchable.
can't, yeah, at the same time, you can't do much when the Bills' offense is rolling in that first quarter and a half. I mean, if that Dawson Knox touchdown doesn't get called back, that game is a blowout.
Mhm.
But that touchdown being called back and the Bills not being able to convert really helped Dolphins get back into the game, and they really made it quite a game. Like coming out of half,
34-31.
yeah, coming out of half when they recovered that fumble and scored for a touchdown, like you could sense the nervous energy in Buffalo. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, is this like this isn't supposed to happen?"
Yeah. They
And the
are so
Dolphins,
good
yeah,
defensively, and the Dolphins
yeah,
defense actually helped them almost win that game. You have Wilkins in the middle. That guy is such a beast. One of my favorite players to watch in the NFL because he's a run stuffer and a pass
yeah.
rusher. They have Javon Holland. They have Phillips. I mean, so many fantastic players that played a really good game. But like you said, it was the receivers that lost them the game. Skylar Thompson, if you watch the videos of that game, he made so many fantastic catchable throws that they just weren't
In
coming up with.
and the Bills' pass rush was no slouch either. The Bills were definitely pressuring him.
Yep.
So he was making those throws with guys coming at him too. Matt Milano played a phenomenal game. He's going to have to play a lot more games like that in the absence of Von Miller.
For sure.
Um,
All pro, by the way. First team
yeah,
All Pro. Matt Milano.
rightfully deserved. He's had a phenomenal season, and he's going to have more phenomenal games. But Bills, another tough matchup this week, but we'll get into that later. Really, really happy they won. Great clock management by Buffalo as well. Got lucky with that first down call with Naeem Hines there, but
Yep.
yeah, I just think Buffalo managed the clock better and were able to hold it down under pressure, whereas the Dolphins were kind of getting a little antsy at the end because they made it close. But happy the Bills got the win.
Absolutely. And it only won by 3 in a close one, but that makes you 2 for 2 in picks, and I'm 3 for 1. Now we're going to go to the Seahawks 49ers. 49ers won 41-23. This one, I remember mentioning this in the last video. I thought it was going to be closer than people thought, and it certainly was, at least for the first
Oh, it
three
was it
quarters.
was for the first 3 quarters. My God, it was so
Mm.
close.
And the Seahawks defense was playing really well. Kenneth Walker was playing good. Geno's moving the ball. And then the 49ers remembered that they're the second best team in the NFC and just absolutely steamrolled the Seahawks. DK Metcalf was having a fantastic game. The Seahawks were going to win. It was because of him. But dude, the defense just completely overpowered them. Brock Purdy had a fantastic game. That kid is good, man. He's playing really
Yeah,
well.
he's playing really well. And again, like we said this last week, like the only reason the 49ers aren't like a legitimate Super Bowl team per se is quite literally because of Brock Purdy.
Hmm?
And who's on a 7-game win streak now?
Something like that. Yeah, they've been doing really well.
Yeah, not bad. But yeah, the Seahawks, they have a lot to look forward to. They came out very on top in the Russell Wilson trade. They have so many picks,
Yes.
and they can do a lot with those picks if they can definitely choose the quarterback they want with those picks. They have leverage to do that. They can choose any running back they want. They can choose any defensive player they want.
Mm-hmm.
The Seahawks are probably one of the most interesting teams to watch this offseason, I'd say, just simply because of draft picks.
Loch, fantastic point. And this is by no means a big loss for them at all. It's impressive that you even got to the playoffs this year when no one was expecting you to be there.
Everyone was expecting them to be a lottery team.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like, "Oh my God, they're gonna get like first overall pick, whatever." And
yeah. And then you had Geno, who wants to come back, and he said, I believe he wants to finish his career in Seattle. If he keeps playing like that, why not? You have great receivers. You have an amazing running back in Kenneth Walker. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you have some of the best DBs in the game right now. And they're looking very scary next year. Like you said, most interesting team in the offseason, I think by a mile. Because they can
they can actually they can afford to like just throw around a first round pick to get someone they want.
For sure. And even use that first round pick on more just fantastic players. Like imagine they draft, they take someone like Najigba or like another amazing receiver, and that offense gets even better. They have so many possibilities, and it's I'm happy for the Seahawks.
And especially with the contract of Russell Wilson out of there and not strapping them down salary cap wise, they can maneuver and be kind of finicky with the way they want to assemble their roster for next year and keep building on this. So we both
got that right.
Yeah,
we both predicted the 49ers.
We both did get this right, but so this is kind of the main event that everyone's waiting for here. We've mentioned all the wild card games except for one, and I will let Ty solely take this away. I will just preview this a little bit. This game was a Saturday night game in Jacksonville between the Chargers and the Jags. Ty, the floor is yours.
Pathetic. That's where I'll start off. Freaking pathetic. Like I have never and that's the thing too. So we got off, for those of you who don't know, Chargers 27-0 lead by the very end of the second quarter until the Jaguars scored their first points. And that was the most complete football I think I've ever seen the Chargers play, or at least this year. It was amazing. The first part of that game, we had 4 interceptions in the first half, 3 of them coming from Asante Samuel Jr. Blew me away. I was so happy for him. Drew Tranquil, Notre Dame guy. He picked the first one off a batted ball on Lawrence's first pass attempt in the playoffs, actually, which is pretty funny. And then the offense was rolling. Once again, a problem with Chargers. Red zone offense. We can't seem to punch in the touchdowns. Throwing the ball, at least. And that was a mix of Herbert and Joe Lombardi, I think. But we put up a lot of points. And then, to be honest with you, I saw this one coming. I didn't see a loss coming necessarily, but I knew in my heart that they would come back in some capacity. Sure enough, they came all the way back, and their first lead of the game came at the very end when they kicked the game-winning field goal. Some of the worst play calling I have ever seen in my life on behalf of the offense. And Lombardi does that. Just check downs and more check downs and short routes and not being aggressive. And that's what lost us the game, in my opinion. Obviously, there were some people say like the refs and Joey Bosa's thing. Joey Bosa's temper got completely out of hand. Regardless of what the refs did, you have to learn to just be quiet and keep going. Even though he was right, but we got some calls in our favor the first half too, so it kind of evened out. But just pathetic. To lose that game was like, let that one sting, I guess, and bring it into next year. I'm happy Herbert got to the playoffs at least. But it was just so hard to watch because I knew they were going to come back. I didn't think that they were going to win, but they did. And they were actually pretty close to missing that field goal at the end too, and pretty close to Derwin blocking it. Derwin had a pretty good game, but just everything went wrong in that second half. And then friggin' Trevor Lawrence goes to Waffle House after the game. Like, the audacity of that man who's still undefeated on Saturday after 70 games in the last 5 years of his life. Even longer than that. Last 10 years of his life, all the way back to high school. So good for Jacksonville, I guess, but that one was hard to watch. Just pathetic. So bad.
Duval.
Oh,
I love when they do that. I love when they do that because I never understood that, but they're in Jacksonville is indeed in Duval County in Florida. So, yeah, that was I was actually at a hockey game, so I didn't catch too much of that. But I just remember in the crowd, like people were like, "Oh my god, like it's a 2-score game, it's a 1-score game. Oh my god, they're about to kick a field goal." I'm like, what the heck is going on in Jacksonville right now? And again, like you said, I think the best part is that they went to Waffle House after.
Yeah, just salt in the wound.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, the Chargers to get themselves into the playoffs with the adversity and the injuries they faced this year is no slouch. Obviously, firing their OC.
Yeah, Joe's gone, and their quarterback coach is gone, and we fired our linebackers coach as well. Honestly, people have been asking me lately, what do you think, Staley? And personally, I think he should be gone, just because as a head coach, you have to take responsibility for that, regardless. Yeah, the players did let you down a little bit, sure, but he was the one calling the defensive plays as well, and we got one or two bad breaks, but I just think we need something a little bit different, and he's a defensive-minded coach as well. I would have loved to seen Herbert under like a Sean Payton or even a Dable back when Dable was available. But
it's
the
thing with I know I've been the Cardinals are in on Sean Payton a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is what the Saints are asking. So it's like, are you willing to give up a first-round pick for sure, Sean Payton? It's like, and it's tough because the Chargers do have a good makeup to their team when they're fully healthy. It's just staying healthy at this point. I'd like to see them give Staley the benefit of the doubt because otherwise it's 3 coaches in 3 years for Herbert.
Yeah, 3 and 4.
Like that's
no,
that
sorry.
Can't be good.
Yeah, it would be 3 and 4 if they had a new one. That's a great point though, Loch. I was thinking about that too, but they already fired their OC, so they're gonna have a new offense of some kind in there anyways. And it's just like if you look at someone like Burrow, who gets to just sit there and develop in his playbook and stuff like that. Mahomes has been with Andy Reid for years. Josh Allen had Dable's thing. They were doing really well. Similar offense they ran this year. So we're just changing so much. And obviously, by the way, I didn't even mention it's ridiculous that Mike Williams wasn't playing in that game. Played in the meaningless one. That's on Staley, 1,020%. So,
yeah, how he doesn't how you don't rest a guy like that, and
especially who's already had injury problems.
Yeah, and it was a back injury, wasn't it? Yep. So it was you never know if it's nerves or muscle damage or ligaments. It's I don't know, with injuries they don't ever really want to specify, which is fair.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's a little bit mismanaging. I get it if you play them in limited snaps, because in meaningless games and meaningless week 17 games now, that's one of the downfalls I think with the NFL schedule is you have games like Titans Jags where winner literally hosts a playoff game. Like that's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have just like meaningless games where you're like, all right, like our quarterback's going to go in for one drive and then he's going to sit.
Yeah.
Like what the Giants did. Like they rested all their players. They're like, you know what, we'll take this week, just rest our guys for the playoffs. And that's one of the downfalls of it. But oh well.
Absolutely.
So
But
yeah,
yeah, that was
super.
horrible.
Yeah,
We both picked the Chargers in that one too. And so I believe you were 4 and no, I think you were 500 actually. You were 3-3 and I was 4-2. But
Yep.
Chargers really let me down. So
Yep.
I'm excited for next year, but God, the NFL offseason's one of the longest in sports. Like
Yeah.
no more Chargers
Oh
football
gosh.
till September, which is kind of wild. Think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. I remember how I felt after the Bill, like the past few Bills playoff exits. It's
yeah. But
a lot to think
Bills
about.
all the way now, baby.
Yep.
Let's go get 'em.
So we're gonna go in order here of the divisional round games because that's the wrap up of Super Wild Card Weekend. Again, not sure why they call it Super Wild Card Weekend.
Got super.
Yeah, but hey, sure. First game. Oh, this is interesting. The Saturday game. The Jags visit Kansas City. So Trevor Lawrence plays another Saturday game. Ooh.
Doug
All right,
Peterson
what-
was asked about that in an interview, and he just dismissed the question. He's like, I don't want to hear that. Next question. Loch, it should be a good one. They should put up a fight.
I'm torn on who I want to pick because I do not want the Chiefs to win.
I don't want the Chiefs to win either,
No.
but I think this one is in the bag. I just think Arrowhead, especially the first game, Andy Reid is something like 14-3 coming off a bye week, which is just insane. And they're more than ready for this game. Their coaching is phenomenal, but Doug Peterson's coaching is also phenomenal as well. And I think if Trevor Lawrence doesn't throw 4 interceptions in the first half, they'll make it a good game. But I'm taking the Chiefs this one by at least 7 or more.
Yeah, as much as I really want the Jags to win, and I will be rooting for them, I think the Chiefs do win, but I think it's a bit more of a narrow victory. Because I think Jacksonville puts a good fight up early, but the Chiefs just kind of overpower them as the game goes on and kind of cracks them down a little bit. Yeah, so I as you know, as good of a run as the Jags have had, I think unfortunately it's going to come to an end Saturday in Arrowhead because it is a tough place to play.
And
very tough place to play.
No, absolutely. Lawrence actually mentioned that he wasn't thinking much of it. Like, you don't think it'll be that much louder than Jacksonville, but even someone like Burrow, obviously, who'd played college in the SEC and the Big Ten, he knows what big, loud stadiums are like. He said Arrowhead is the loudest he's ever heard.
Well, it's the way it's weird. It's the way it's shaped.
Yeah.
That makes it reverberate noise like no other stadium. Like Seattle obviously has, because Seattle's like stadium is like it's semi closed in. So like it makes sense why the roof would kind of reverberate the sound. Obviously the 12th man there in Seattle.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arrowhead is known to be loud, and they're a fully open stadium. So it's the way that it's shaped that makes the sound waves kind of bounce in on each other. But that should be good. And again, the Chiefs getting the number 1 seed, coming off the bye, just getting a little bit more healthy, getting a little bit more prepared and ready. And their core has been there long enough. They know what to do in these games. Like they know how to handle themselves going forward in these games. So Chiefs, but not by that much.
Both got Chiefs. Next one, Loch. We have Eagles and Giants. Who do you got in this one?
This is another tough one because the Eagles, I've loved watching the Eagles all season long, and I love that the Giants are scrapping it out in the playoffs. I want to call an upset, but I don't know if I can. You know what I mean? I do.
Like, you don't know if you have the audacity to go against the Eagles this year.
Yeah, I kind of want to, actually. As much as I'd love to see Eagles Cowboys, I don't think that's gonna happen. So I'm gonna go with the Giants here, simply because I think it's just another road game and another game that a lot of people aren't necessarily gonna pick them. like it was funny. I was eating breakfast this morning and I was watching like morning football talk,
Hmm.
and they were like legitimately debating like who's gonna have more rushing yards, Daniel Jones or Jalen Hurts. Like that was like a legit debate. I was like,
Yeah.
what? So I don't know. I feel like people are kind of pulling for the Giants in a sense because they want them to continue to be the underdog. I'm gonna take them. I think they're gonna just find a way. Honestly, like,
Lachlan.
there's not gonna be much about it, but I just feel like they're just gonna find a way. It's weird that they've been doing it all season long. Why not one more?
Lock, buddy. I love that pick. I love it. And you know what? I didn't know what you were gonna say, but I agree with you. I'm gonna pick the Giants as well. I was gonna pick the Giants before you said that, but I'm very happy you actually said it with me. I got the Giants beating the Eagles as well. After watching last week, the fantastic all-around performance they put up against a on paper stronger Vikings team. Very, very impressive. Um, they got to win this one with the run game. Eagles are a tough team. It'll be close. Another very close one down the wire. But I got the Giants going through to the NFC Championship game, which sounds
Yeah.
crazy. Wow.
Another thing
But,
about the Giants too is like Miles Sanders had a great year,
mm,
but the thing that made me pick the Vikings last week over the Giants was the Giants cannot cover the tight end position.
yeah,
And Dallas Goddard is not quite TJ Hawkinson in my mind. No,
sure.
not quite. They don't use him as much as they do TJ Hawkinson in Minnesota. So I feel like more their efforts are gonna have to, like, the linebackers are just gonna focus on, keeping and containing Miles Sanders to a few yards at a time. And then obviously limiting those receivers and Devonta Smith and AJ Brown.
No, absolutely. It'll be a tough game defensively for the Giants for sure because the Eagles are so dynamic. They can literally, even like you mentioned, Goddard for sure isn't TJ Hawkinson, but he's still a darn good tight end. They have
He
elite
is.
receivers, they have good running back, and their quarterback likes to run the ball too. And he can definitely scramble and improvise. So it's going to be very hard planning defensively against this game, especially like you mentioned with Devonta Smith is one of the most underrated receivers in the league right now. And AJ Brown's a stud. He's
Yeah,
so
I do.
so
I
good.
think this bye week kind of hurt the Eagles a little bit. I think they lost a little bit of rhythm from their season.
Yeah,
And I think they're gonna come out a little bit flat, and it's gonna be like too little, too late. Like they're gonna come on strong in the latter half of the fourth quarter, but I think the deficit's just gonna be too large to overcome at one time. So
that's it. So we both have the Giants. Interesting. Both have the Giants on the fantasy cast. Going all in on the Giants. Sunday, January 22nd at 3 p.m. Bills, Bengals. In what should be the game actually that I was supposed to see, and I did see the first bit of it, the DeMar Hamlin game. They're playing each other the first time since the DeMar Hamlin game. This should be a shootout in the 40s. This could get really, really high scoring, and
yeah,
I love it. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. As much as I don't really like Joe Burrow or the Bengals, I respect them. Should be a fantastic game. And Lachlan, I got the Bills. I got the Bills in this one. I think it's going to be very close, but I think the Bills just edge them out a little bit. I think they kind of wake up from what happened last week. Well, both of these teams actually didn't play great last week, and both could have lost the games that they were playing in. But I think it's going to be a very, very good game, and I have the Bills winning.
yeah. Same with me. Obviously, I can't go against the Buffalo Bills in this
Yeah,
game. I think it was definitely a little bit eye opening that the Bills gave up 31 against Skylar Thompson. Mind you, he played well. They have good receivers. They have good offense. I think the Bills definitely need to make some adjustments on the defensive end to kind of clean up their zone coverage a little bit and their safety help.
sure.
And they got to attempt to stop the run a little bit because they have not been good against the run this year at all. But at the same time, like, you're not going to lean heavy on Joe Mixon when you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd that you can throw to if you're Joe Burrow. Also a key for the Bills, they're gonna overpower this O-line, I think, too. Burrow's going to be under a lot of pressure all day long, and under a lot of pressure simply by the Bills just rushing 4.
Yeah,
And mind you, if they rush 5 too, that's going to compound.
the occasional
Um,
blitz,
yeah, exactly. I think the pass rush is going to keep Burrow on his toes, but I think the coverage is going to make some adjustments that are going to work out well for the Bills. And I think that Josh Allen, because again, I was watching the same like morning football program, and there was another debate. It was like, who are you trusting more in this playoff game, Burrow or Allen? And everyone on the panel said Burrow. And I was like, okay, so you're not going to trust Josh Allen at home in a playoff game. That's interesting. And simply because he threw a couple picks and had a fumble. Like that's the only reason is that he did that against the Dolphins. This is going to be a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
Arguably like one of the games of the playoffs.
I think the game of the playoffs. And
these are two great teams that were supposed to play each other in the regular season a few weeks ago. Couldn't really. And then now Buffalo is back at home, where in my mind, as long as Buffalo is at home, they're gonna win, in my mind. So I think the Bills are winning this one.
Both got the Bills, both got the Chiefs, both got the Giants so far. Now in our last one, we have the Cowboys 49ers on Sunday Night Football. Actually, it's 6:30, so not really too late. But that one, I think that game is going to be very, very, very interesting. Yes. Because the Cowboys have been playing very good. They played very good last week against a questionable Bucs team. I can see them winning the game. That being said, I'm going to go with my original prediction and my Super Bowl prediction, which is Bills 49ers. I think the 49ers are going to win this one. I think it'll be close, but they'll pull away at the end. Of course, they are at home. And Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Purdy's playing so well. You have McCaffrey and Debo. So I think it's a little bit too much firepower, and I think the 49ers pull away from the Cowboys. And if they do, that'll be the Cowboys' 7th consecutive divisional game loss. 7 divisional games that they made it to, and 7 in a row they'd lose, which is the longest streak since 1970 or something like that. So,
their win against the Bucs wasn't it their first win in 25 years?
Yep, in the playoffs.
Yeah, which is shocking because there definitely been some good Cowboy teams that have come out in the last 25 years. I do not like the Dallas Cowboys. I will continue to pick against them. Although they do have a good team, they really do. But I just think in San Francisco, Brock Purdy's riding some kind of heat wave right now. I think he keeps it rolling.
Yeah. So actually, we completely agree on everything today.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Chiefs, Giants, Bills, and Niners. And
hoping for the Jags to pull out the upset over the Chiefs. I really am, but it's so hard to pick against Kansas City right now.
Yeah, for sure. Gonna be fantastic games across the board. That's about does it for this episode of the Fantasy Cast. But we hope you all enjoy a great weekend of playoff divisional football. And who do you have winning? Let us know. Should be fantastic. Looking forward to it. And we'll come back to you next week with it's crazy, Loch. I think we're already at the championship games next week.
Yeah. 3 weeks from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
4 weeks from the Super Bowl. 4 weeks. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and actually, there's another thing too. Last night I found out I actually can go to some of the media availability for it.
No way.
Yeah, so last night
Are you serious?
Yeah, so I'm part of a radio station here called Blaze Radio. It's a student radio station that's not really affiliated with the school. I've called a few games on it and stuff. But the Blaze radio station will be on Radio Row at the Super Bowl, and we found out last night we can sign up to go to the Monday night media availability at State Farm. Or
Where
it's either at
like
State
players
Farm.
will be?
It's yeah. So it's the first time the players will be available for media. So I found that out, which is cool. So I will likely be there for Monday night media availability at the Super Bowl, which is great.
That is just
Yeah,
congratulations, dude. That's
yeah.
crazy. That is amazing. Might have
And
to
then
make
as well,
some might have
there's
to
also
film
a
some stuff.
yeah, there's also a chance too that I get a pass for the Waste Management Phoenix Open in on Super Bowl weekend actually,
Wow.
because Blaze is doing they're calling some of that action, so
Hmm.
I'm it's not guaranteed that I get in there, but I'm gonna make a strong push and really try.
Yeah, of course.
If not, I'm already looking at tickets to go because I would love to go to that.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
fantastic though, man. Damn. Fantasy Cast is represented at the Super Bowl media.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing. That's so funny. That's incredible, Loch. So good luck with that. Good luck for you. But we'll see you guys next week and enjoy the playoffs, guys.